Hello again, everybody. Today we are here for number 24. The rules, as always, are simply to watch and to share. I would love to see some of you begin lists of your own, but there's never any obligation. Just please watch and share. You never know whose life you're saving today. So, this boy was another friend in high school, the year I went back to public school. And I guess friend is technically the incorrect term. We dated for a solid 10 months, which for our generation in high school was quite a long time. Almost the full school year, actually. He had asked me out in a note during our world history class. And I thought he was sweet and interesting. So I said yes. And we got along great. We hung out all the time, went to movies. We expanded each other's love of music drastically. He was a saxophone player on the school band, and he was good enough that he quite often got the solos center stage. I loved watching him play because he was so good. My favorite, though, was when we would write together. We would join our different styles and write the same story from two different perspectives. And I loved it because it pushed the creative boundary for both of us. And we both got much better over the course of just a few pages in our descriptions and our word usage, and the proper placement of tension to keep the reader interested. We did one that was very sci-fi, and it was my favorite one. I loved every second of it. I even drew out mini sketches of the characters. I was so grateful to have someone that I could learn from and create with like that. It was so fantastic. We dated for a full 6 months before I even let this boy kiss me the first time. He was always so sweet and so patient, and he never pressured me for anything physical. I genuinely felt like he just enjoyed my company too. And that is so priceless. But yes, after we kissed the first time, I began to let him get closer and closer in a physical sense. We never actually had sex while we dated in high school. That ended up happening many years later. But there were plenty of moments that it got really close. And again, just like with the first boy, it always left me feeling dirty and ashamed. And I knew it wasn't his fault in any way, because I wanted to do those things with him. I'm the one who instigated our interactions. He made sure to let me be comfortable and set the pace. And he really was a true gentleman for our generation. A rarity among thugs, and I treasured him for it. But again, I knew whatever was happening with me on the physical side was going to ruin him. But I didn't know how to convince him it was time to let go. I didn't know how to leave the relationship with no reason. And I still loved him, even if I knew I couldn't have sex with him. When my parents moved again the summer of my sophomore year, we changed school districts. And I was now going to be attending school in a completely different city. This little podunk town with one fucking stoplight. And by now I had attained my first job as well. Though not because my mother had wanted me to, but because I could visibly see that my mom and my dad could really use the help. I got a job so that I could help the household, not because I wanted the money. But having my own cash was certainly a nice thing too. So I was in this new school with a new job, and I'd heard rumor from a friend still attending my previous school that this boy, who was still my boyfriend, was telling people that I was doing sexual favors for cigarettes at work. I knew it was bullshit even as I heard it. I know he wouldn't have said anything like that, and as of that particular moment, I hadn't actually started smoking yet. But within a few weeks after that, I did. The point was that when I heard the rumor, I saw an opening, and I used it. And I essentially just called him and told him what I had heard, and that I didn't want to hear what he had to say about it, that I was just done. I didn't give him a chance to explain or anything. We didn't speak again until years later. My guilt finally started to get to me, and I called up his mother, looking for him. And I told her that I wanted to apologize. She gave him my number, and he called back. And he let me apologize. And we stepped right back into just being casual friends for a while. At that point, we did eventually end up having sex. During a moment that we were both going through our own outside pains with our own relationships too. Which only really sucked because that feeling crept right back up my spine again, like it always does with boys. But I still love him for who he is. So Tyson, episode 24 is for you. Because you saved my life by putting in time and effort into loving me, into being a good man in a world full of nothing but players. Thank you for being exactly who you are. Thank you for existing and continuing to wake up every day with all of us. I am still very sorry to have hurt you the way I did so long ago. But I'm so glad that you gave me the chance to apologize. That you could find it in you to forgive me. So that we could be friends again. Because even if that didn't end so well either, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you existed, and in doing so, your love saved a life. My life. Everything about who you are is important in this world. It matters. It will always matter. Episode 24. Tyson.